Dear friends, welcome to my 2024 forecast video. I have to start with a very big disclaimer. I think it's unwise and impossible to predict the future. But with that being said, there are certain astrological patterns and energies that are at play every single moment of our lives. So if we are aware of those a bit ahead, perhaps we can be a bit more conscious to what's coming, perhaps make better decisions, or maybe just be more aware of certain collective patterns that we are a part of. With this in mind, I will start with the biggest astrological shift of 2024. Pluto is going into the sign of Aquarius, and it will stay in Aquarius until 2044. There will be just a very brief return of Pluto into the sign of Capricorn this fall from September until the 20th of November. But all in all, 2024 will be really impacted by this energetic shift in dynamics with Pluto going into the sign of Aquarius. Pluto is the furthest of the planets from the sun. According to astronomy, it's no longer a planet, but astrology very much, I would say, respects Pluto, or maybe even fears the influence of Pluto, because symbolically, astrologically, it's the planet that has a lot to do with profound crisis and transformation. Last time Pluto was in the sign of Aquarius was at the end of the 18th century. So this was the time when the world back then, a very different world than the world we have now, experienced major revolutions and uprisings. That was the time when the world had the American Revolution, when the Americans were fighting against the oppression of the British Crown and the taxation of the British Crown. That was also the time when the French people rebelled against Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, or in general, I would say, rebelled against the kings and the aristocracy as such. That was also the time when the New York Stock Exchange was formed, and this kind of cemented a start of very different type of capitalism that in some shape and form survive until today. I think I would definitely say the world now is so much different than it was back then. So it's a bit hard to say in general, or maybe it's not so hard to say in general. I'm sorry, it's a bit hard to say specifically what could unfold. But generally speaking, I'm thinking Pluto in Aquarius does not like the elites. It wants to transform the society as such. Aquarius represents the society. It represents the whole of humanity. It also represents decentralized systems that are not, I would say, that are not governed from one center of power. Pluto in Aquarius will probably try to bring in some shape and form power back to the people, or people will take it in their own hands to rebel against certain forms of oppression. Nowadays, the world is not governed by kings and queens as it was back in the 18th century, but still, there are certain types of elites that are very present nowadays too. Certain types of politicians, certain types of capitalists that govern the world nowadays. Perhaps the power is even more hidden now than it was 250 years back. But in any case, there will be some power struggles and power shifts. I've read somewhere Pluto in Aquarius actually tries to destroy the plutocracy. And plutocracy is the rulership of the elites. How this will unfold, I don't think it will go without resistance, and probably will have a lot of push and pull from different centers of power. Perhaps people will somehow be provoked or instigated to go and to take the matters in their own hands. We of course have to be very careful when we talk about Pluto of potential manipulations, like who is actually pulling the strings in the background, and be very aware of the causes that we are fighting for if we decide to fight for something. I would also say for Pluto in Aquarius, one very important theme is the rise of the power of communities. And Aquarius rules over progressive, future-oriented communities. So with this in mind, perhaps it would be good to be a bit more conscious of the company we keep, especially nowadays, with the rise of the social media and power of also digital communities. Physically and digitally, like what kind of communities we are associating with, who is influencing us, how can we be parts of communities that are really aligned with us, with our values, and with what we feel is right also for the future of humanity as such. That could maybe be one important topic to consider. I also expect to see a big rise in the power of technology. Possibly, we could talk also about the rise in the power of science and scientific thinking. Something a bit more detached, a bit more rationalistic in the way that it operates. And at the same time, the rise could also happen in the artificial intelligence. There could be a big shift in how we perceive humanity. What is a human being? All of these things could be very much, going through a very, very big transition. And I would guess that certain topics that I've just named are potentially not comfortable, and potentially bring a lot of danger and peril for the humankind, mid-term and long-term. But let's see how the stage will unfold, and perhaps let's be more conscious that we also with our own actions can support certain causes that are close to our hearts and that are aligned with our values. Okay, so that was Pluto. Now I will look a little bit into the two planets that are also quite far away from us. First is the planet of Neptune, and then I will look at Saturn. Both of them are in the sign of Pisces. Saturn entered Pisces last year, and Neptune entered Pisces back in 2012. Neptune had quite a long transit through the sign of Pisces, and it will stay in the sign of Pisces for the whole 2024, and then in the year 2025 it will move into the sign of Aries. So next year, not just regarding Neptune, but also some other major planets will be a year of big shifts. And when I say next year, I'm referring to 2025. 2024, we will still work with Neptune in Pisces and with Saturn in Pisces. And what I want to say about this, Neptune in Pisces is definitely this energy that has been, I would say, bringing potentially a lot of confusion, chaos, and delusion to humanity. That could be the shadow expression of what we are experiencing. Perhaps a lot of dreaminess as well, a lot of feelings of being somehow lost, of having these big grandiose dreams but not really knowing how to root them in reality. Neptune in Pisces can also have an allure of mysticism, of magic. Like we could be more attracted to certain spiritual topics, to certain Very different and very shifted experiences from what we see or what we can just experience with our senses. So there is this perhaps like a beautiful opportunity that is ending with the next year, 2024, to shift our perception, to experience something larger than us, to feel a lot of inspiration, a lot of alignment in a spiritual sense, and perhaps to rediscover our own spirituality. But this, of course, comes with the peril of being very confused, being very lost, being very ungrounded. And now with Saturn in Pisces, this is the transit that started in 2023, we are somehow being invited to, I would say, clean the mess a little bit and do the work. Wherever Saturn is going through, it's the area collectively that we are invited to really work on with efficiency, work on with patience, work on with a lot of dedication. I would say also Saturn doesn't want us to torture ourselves or to lose a lot of energy. The idea of Saturn is definitely, okay, what can I do to build certain systems? How can I work with a certain energetics, but really with my own two hands and with the power of my mind? And with Saturn in Pisces, I would say that we are all being very much invited in 2023 and 2024 to work on our dreams. Am I working on my dreams or am I still somewhere in the la-la land, being a little bit delusional? Am I really dedicated to bringing my dreams into life and into material reality? Another question for Saturn would be, for example, okay, I have my beliefs, which would be Neptune and Pisces. I have my own like spiritual beliefs, spiritual truths that I uphold. But how can I turn those more into practice? Am I being practical also about my spirituality? Perhaps am I being disciplined about it? Am I meditating on a daily basis? What am I doing in my daily life to work on my spirituality? And then I think we could also be invited or maybe even forced to stop deluding ourselves and perhaps stop certain self-sabotaging behaviors and addictions. Those are really prominent with Neptune in Pisces, but now Saturn is kind of like, yeah, this is all fine, but what will be the consequences of certain behaviors or certain habits that are actually self-destructive? Perhaps I think we all individually could work a little bit or reflect a little bit on these topics. Uranus, another very far away planet, will stay in the sign of Taurus in 2024. It's also moving very, very slowly, but 2024 is the last year that Uranus will be solely in Taurus. So the year after that it will go into the sign of Gemini. So also, again, another big cycle is being closed. Maybe in 2024 it will be prudent to think a little bit about what Uranus in Taurus means for all of us collectively and to close this cycle more consciously. I would say with Uranus in Taurus we can think about certain potentially revolutions or moments of enlightenment that we can all collectively and personally experience that are revolving around our physicality and our body. How are we treating our body? We can also get a lot of moments of insight and definitely alignment if we tap into the wisdom of our bodies. We could also feel that we want to be more grounded, more present in our bodies. yeah, perhaps we can, in some shape and form, revolutionize our diet. And we're also being very much invited to think about progressively how we could revolutionize and do some major shifts potentially with how we value ourselves and also with our money, so with the financial matters. And with Uranus, the topics that we are being invited collectively to look into are always how to gain more liberty, how to gain more independence. So yeah, maybe financially, it's 2024 would be a very good year to look at how we are spending money, how we are investing money. Yeah, if we could make some shifts, if we could modernize it a little bit, revolutionize it a little bit, are we content and happy with the money freedom that we have, or we feel we have maybe even none? And then the question will be, okay, how can I regain at least some of it back? These could be certain questions for Uranus in Taurus. And then there is the planet of Jupiter that will shift in, I believe it will be in May or June, in the sign of Gemini. And Jupiter in Gemini is a little bit different to this 1 year cycle that we had up until that point of Jupiter in Taurus. Jupiter in Taurus, like Uranus in Taurus, was a lot about the physicality, the body, the nutrition, the looking into the finances. And Jupiter in Gemini will be more about networks, more about people, our immediate environment, and potentially also the digital environment that we interact with, and also a lot about communication, whether it's in written form, whether it's blogging, whether it's talking to someone, whether it's communicating, in any possible shape and form. Jupiter in Gemini is definitely infusing all of these topics with extra importance and potentially also bringing us a lot of good luck in these areas. While I talk about Jupiter, I also want to say that Jupiter and Uranus will meet in the sign of Taurus, and this will happen on the 20th of April, 2024. And this is definitely a major conjunction that doesn't happen often. I think the last time it happened was back in 2000 and I'm not sure if it was 2010. I will check, and I will correct myself if I'm wrong. But yeah, definitely. We are talking about the conjunction that is potentially very powerful and can bring a lot of benefits to us. It can also bring certain risks. With Uranus, Uranus is very unpredictable. It has a very unpredictable energy, so it's a bit like you never know what you will get out of it. But at the same time, Jupiter is a very benevolent planet. Astrologers think of it as the most benevolent planet of the solar system. So it kind of expands and brings good luck and fortune to any point in the zodiac where it finds itself. And Jupiter and Uranus working together could really give us, if nothing else, a lot of insights. I think the month of April would be a very good month to check what type of insights, what type of ideas are coming to me. Potentially, we could also invest in certain things where we wouldn't maybe usually invest. I'm not talking about large investments of large sums of money. Definitely, please don't do that. No guarantees there. But yeah, maybe we could play with money in a bit of a different way than we do usually. Maybe we could also innovate our own self-worth and self-esteem. This is another very Taurian topic. So yeah, this could also be something that comes to you. Perhaps you will feel that you can finally break free of certain limiting patterns in how you value yourself, how you see yourself. Definitely also another potentiality out there. And I think I will end with the nodes. The nodes in 2024 are staying in the North Node is staying in Aries, and the South Node is staying in the sign of Libra. So yeah, another cycle, 18-year cycle, this one that will come to its close in 2024. And with this in mind, North Node in Aries, what it wants from us, what it demands from us is more self-focus, more focus on what it is that I deeply want and desire, what is it that fuels me with passion, what is it that I'm here to do, what is it perhaps also that I'm here to initiate and that I'm here to lead. All of these questions are very important with North Node in Aries. The South Node in the sign of Libra is talking about what we are collectively releasing and letting go. And with South Node in Libra, we're definitely collectively talking about a lot of releasing in partnerships. So these could be personal partnerships, this could be marriages, this could also be professional partnerships, or more globally, it could be political partnerships and unions between different institutions or even countries. So these are having a bit of crisis and having a bit of perhaps also investigation into some bitter truths. Are the partnerships working? And if not, would it be maybe better to let them go? And 2024 will be again a lot about this. I would say collectively we could feel a bit more egoistical, a bit more egocentrical, a bit more self-driven, and also a bit more impulsive and aggressive. This is a dark side of the North Node in Aries. Propensity to go into conflicts, propensity to be a bit one-minded, single-minded, and it's my way or the highway type of mentality. So yeah, we could all be a bit more conscious of the aggressive impulses that perhaps come to us to fight for certain things that are important for us, and maybe find a little bit also of restraint in voicing those. Yes, it's very important to go after what it is that we desire, and the North Node in Aries is helping us in those, but perhaps we can see if we are being constructive or perhaps a little bit too warrior oriented around these topics. The archetype of a warrior can be very, very strong. So we will have the eclipses in general mostly happening around the signs of Aries and Libra. So a lot of opportunities in March, April, and then also in the month of September and October to look into these topics and do a bit more maybe conscious soul searching and releasing and certain also desire and creation in these areas. And I will definitely post eclipse videos in 2024 when the time comes. And I think I will end with this. Wishing you all the best for the year 2024, wishing all of us collectively. I would say, I wanted to say smooth sailing, but perhaps that's not the point. Maybe we need a little bit of rough patches, and maybe that's the way that it will transpire. But I'm wishing everyone to know how to deal with the energies as they come in the best possible way for themselves, and also to help others on their own journeys. Sending you big hugs and all the best. Bye bye.